So we have this wine called Relentless. It is a beautiful wine. Big, rich, extracted, concentrated. It's a blend of Syrah and Petite Sirah. We've been making it for over 10 years now. It comes from a wonderful vineyard site just south of the Stag's Leap District on a hillside, great exposure, rugged, rough, beautiful terrain. A lot of people think Relentless, the name Relentless speaks to that style of wine. Actually though, the name comes from somewhere else. It actually is a reference to a guy who's been my best friend for over 25 years, Elias Fernandez. I really don't know another winemaker like Elias. He will stop at nothing to make the best possible wine. When he and I were making wine together, we had a mantra that we'd use together. It would be, check it and check it again to make sure whatever it was correct. And then when he took over the winemaking, he took it to a whole new level. He checks it again, and he checks it 3 more times. He checks things that most people would never even dream of. Elias works very closely with our cork supplier here in the States. The two of them have come up with the Shafer way, if you will, of how they produce the corks in Portugal, how they're shipped over to this country, and then how they're treated here before being delivered to Shafer. One of the most important steps is the soak test. They'll soak the corks in wine for 24 hours, different batches of corks, then they'll smell that wine to make sure each batch is clean and perfect for Shafer. Elias also works very closely with all our barrel suppliers. We have 8 or 10 coopers we deal with every year. He meets with them, they talk about what type of oak is being used, the tightness of the grain, how long the oak was aged in France before the barrels were made, the toast level in the barrels. The list is endless, and he covers that with each of these vendors. And what that means is we get great quality barrels, which we have to have for great wine. When it comes to bottling, Elias is very involved. He chooses to come in at 4:30 or 5 in the morning to personally sterilize the equipment. But it's so important for quality that he insists on being here, chooses to be here, and not only does that early, but then oversees the entire bottling operation the whole day, and then goes home and sleeps very well that night. So with Elias, it's not just the winery, it's the vineyard too. He's thinking all the time, he's always questioning, what can we do better?
Elias is a real perfectionist, and he tends to details in extreme. And when it comes to knowing this vineyard, the various blocks and how they behave and so on, he has a knowledge that none of the rest of us have. And I think it showed up in the wines. From the beginning, Doug and I have established a tradition, if you will, of naming our wine after vineyards. Naming the vineyards and coming up with a name. It's usually been a place name. And Doug, I think, was the one that came up with the idea, and he said, I think we ought to name it after a person. Why don't we name it after a person? And in fact, why don't we name it in honor of Elias?
I spoke with a lot of our vendors, the folks that sell us corks, glass, barrels, labels, and asked them about Elias. They all agreed he's a real perfectionist. They said any wine named after him should be something like Pain in the Neck, or Pain in the You-Know-What, or some other things I can't say on camera. So we chewed on that for a while and ended up with Relentless, basically to honor Elias and his relentless pursuit of quality. Elias doesn't tell the story very often, but what he does speak to when it comes to Relentless is the spirit of Relentless. And a funny thing happened here at Shafer. Everybody kind of jumped on board and feel that they're relentless also, whether it's in our vineyard crew, winery crew, office staff. They're all relentless in their own ways. It's neat to have Relentless out there. It's great to make it, to sell it. But what's more important, I think, is the whole spirit of Relentless. The spirit of doing what you can, whatever you can, to achieve the best quality.